Like they say, don't overbuild the drift car.
Yeah.
I overbuilt the tow rig. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's anyone like building a drag car and going out there and they're like, I'm just here to have fun. I don't care what times I put down. Like where drifting's going right now is, I think it's good going into the future.
Welcome back to the Drip and Drift podcast. My name is Nick, and today's guest, we got Dylan Whitaker. You may know him as Slow E36.
Yeah.
You may know him as the all gas, no brakes E36, even though you're moving on from that, which we'll talk about.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks for joining me, man. It's been I saw you at After Dark, and I was like,
a couple weeks ago. Last weekend.
Yeah, last weekend. How'd the night go for you?
It's pretty good. So I got a new car. The spray paint car that everybody knows and loves is took a bad hit back in November. A lot of people have seen it. That whole door, the driver door is caved in. There's a compromised A-pillar on it. So we're going to end up parting that car out. I don't want to sell it and have someone drive it and end up getting injured because the structure is kind of compromised on that car. Yeah. So I got a new car. I got Chelsea DeNofa's old E36. It's that blue one with a roll cage, and it's an NA car, but it's turbo ready. So
nice.
Standalone ECU.
How's the cage in it?
It's a good cage. The cage is really good, and from what I can tell, it was a custom cage that got bent into it. Mm-hmm. It just lacks like a dash bar. I want to add a dash bar to it, and I want to add intrusion bars down at the feet. True. It's like a pretty basic 6-point cage, but the welds are good, the notches are good, everything's like tight, the dimensions, proportions, everything's good with it.
Door bars. Got door bars.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. Sick. But yeah. Did the bumper, you were fixing the bumper when I was talking to you at that event, and I was like, I'll let you get to it.
So, new car at After Dark last weekend, and Bruno, E46 Connect, everybody knows him. He was driving it. The old car, he was driving that one, and we were kind of like tandeming, and these were my first laps in the new car, so we probably shouldn't have been like on each other's doors, and I spun in front of him in the new car, and he hit it, and it ripped the front bumper off the front of it. True. Which later we found out like the main crash bar was put back on with like washers through like the actual plate on the frame rail is like gone. So we tapped the passenger corner, and it just like seesawed the whole front end off the car.
Wow.
So we're gonna replace the front end of the frame rail, get it replated, and then new core support, cross member, radiator and everything's good. I have like an M3 bumper that I got to get painted and put on it, so it'll look good, but kind of piled her up the first event out just a little bit. Yeah. Still drives, but. Yeah.
So you were saying that with the spray painted E36, you've had it since like 2018. You've been driving it since
2016. I bought the car. That was my daily driver for like my last couple years of high school. Yeah. I did drive one event in my senior year of high school, which was really cool, but then like I had to be the responsible student, the studious student, they say. I was like, I can't really be drifting my only transportation, so I didn't get to drift it until like a year later. I got a daily driver, and then shortly after I got like a tow rig, old 2500 HD pickup. And then I started hitting the events like 2019, 2020 is when I really like started going to every event. Yeah.
And what made you want to just spray paint it up like that? 'Cause I feel like that's like the opposite of what I think of like.
So the car's rough. The car was a drift car when I bought it. Yeah. It was like, it was fairly clean, but it was 3 different shades of white. Like some of the panels were white plasti dip, some panels were like white spray paint, and other panels were white vinyl wrap, which like eBay vinyl. And when I peeled it off the hood of this car, it was like hours with a heat gun, and like my hands and fingers were totally raw from just peeling like really horrible eBay vinyl off. And it took like all the original paint, the flaky clear coat, like everything off with it. So at that point I was like, hey, this car needs a full paint job anyway, and a bunch of friends tag different stuff on it. There's all the sayings on it: all gas, no brakes, go for broke. Yeah. A lot of different people like put stuff on that car, and it just kind of stuck. And I never got around to painting the car. So
yeah, it did catch attention, I feel like.
And like couple years go by, and it's no longer like, oh, when are you going to paint your car? It's, oh, I hope you never paint it. It's got so much character.
Yeah, true.
It kind of just became a thing.
Yeah.
Funny enough, back in November, I started collecting like parts and pieces to get the body back to clean. I bought like the M3 rep bumper, the full M3 trims. If you guys know the BMWs, like all that trim molding in the middle, like the door moldings. It's not as bad as on E46, but on E36, all that stuff just flies off. Like it's inevitable.
I've seen many cars.
So I bought all the trims. The car wasn't in terrible shape. You know, the quarter panel's been pushed in and pulled back out, but the rear bumper like lined up, front bumper lined up. So I was going to start sanding it down. I was going to paint it like November was the plan. And then, that event in Cordell, Georgia, good old G35 kind of initiated into me, a little T-bone action, and tore up the A-pillar, folded the floor in. I was really shaken up about it. Yeah. Like, that was kind of like, okay, I probably need a roll cage, and I should just buy a car with a roll cage. Yeah. I've never really felt that need to have a roll cage and be safe like that. But after that, I was like, the door is pretty much where my leg is at. And any faster or a higher speed track, like I could be working with like a broken leg or a broken hip or pelvis or something.
That's wild. Damn. Yeah, I was in one accident at OSW hitting the wall, but it wasn't bad enough for me to be like, scare me enough to get a cage, but I've always known like two cars going at it. Like,
that's the thing with drifting is a majority of our accidents or crashes is like they're little bumps, they're love taps. I mean, you can smack a wall pretty hard and the car is still completely straight. Like the cars are pretty resilient for the most part. And it's always funny because if you've ever had a passenger and hit something, the passengers always freak out like, oh my gosh, the car's destroyed. And you get out and the door has like a little dent in it and you're like, oh, that's light work.
Yeah, that's nothing.
But, you know, when those cars initiate and the front end of a car ends up in your door, it's kind of a wake-up of, you know, what we do can be dangerous at times.
For sure.
Even on a stock E36 at like 160 horsepower level.
Yeah. How fast were you on initiation?
Well, it was actually the end of a track.
Okay.
Cordell up in Georgia. There's like a hairpin at the end of it, so everybody scrubs all their speed at the Manji. It's really similar to an OSW spring brake bash layout, where you go through the Manji and you have that hairpin circle back before you hit the exit. Yeah. Everyone scrubs all their speed there, and I actually had a car pile up in front of me, and I like stopped on them, but then there was a G35 that kind of was initiating and ended up in that sandwich.
True. Damn. So with the new E36, not that you plan to do the same thing, but you like having more of a stockish like lower power car and like just laps, or like how are you going to build that up?
It's this ever going battle of like keep drifting fun, and to me, I think drifting becomes significantly less fun if it costs you 3 times as much to do the same amount.
For sure.
So there are some plans to maybe turbo that car in the future. It is turbo ready. It's got head studs, a head gasket, standalone ECU, fueling's already done. So it's really like a manifold, turbo, and piping, and like that car's ready to rip. But everyone I know with turbo is anywhere from 15 to 30 laps on 2 tires. And right now I get 50 to 70 on 2 tires.
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't know.
I mean,
you're gonna ride it out for now for a while.
Yeah, I got some other priorities in life, and things are happening, and you know, my priorities aren't building a car I have right now. They're worried about the other stuff, other projects that I have.
For sure. And you're gonna part out the spray paint car.
The old spray paint car is finally gonna
What's
parted
all?
out.
You had obviously a lot of suspension stuff done to it. Yeah.
It's it's everything that can be done to a stock power E36. So all the bushings are done, the camber arms, BC coils, a lot of good parts. Just drift parts.
Yeah.
All the bushings, suspension, bearings, everything you would do. The subframe came out. Subframe is reinforced. Really, the only thing that's going to stay in that car when it gets parted out is the subframe reinforcements, which get welded into 36 and 46. And like the handbrake mount is welded to the trans tunnel.
True.
Everything else is like good parts. It's going to get pulled out, parted out.
True.
A lot of stuff is going to become spares for the current car.
Yeah, it should. Yeah, for sure. And what else? You were letting me know before this. You got a couple other things for sale. So what else?
Yeah, I've got a 2005 2500 HD. It's a cammed 6.0 build, and funny story. When I was getting into drifting, everyone was like, "Oh yeah." Well, I say everyone. Like a few people were like, "Cammed 6.0 is the best tow rig you can ever have." Worst mistake of my life. Like, it's cool. It's a quick truck. Ever since I built it, like, I had it tuned, and it's never ran like good. And I think it's because it's still on stock ECU, but like sometimes I hop in it, I go to the store, no check engine light, runs flawless. You can get on it, it's fast. It's like cammed 6.0 in a 2500. And other times it's like cylinders are dropping out, it's getting a random misfire. And I've changed spark plugs, coil packs, O2 sensors, and I'm like, it's got to be something with this stock ECU. So,
Damn, well.
But I overbuilt a tow rig. Like they say, don't overbuild the drift car.
Yeah.
I overbuilt the tow rig instead of just having a stock 2500 HD. Pulled it out, cammed it, did the valve springs, decked the heads. It is a high compression build, so it makes good torque and power when it runs good.
Yeah.
And that's like, to fully build a 6.0 like that is like $2,000 to $4,000 for machine work, the dual valve spring kit, the cam, the bearings, all of that. Just good. Like, it'd be probably a good motor if it ran great to just drop into a drift car.
True.
But I have no desire to put an iron. I don't want to put an iron block in anything.
True. Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's a whole nother debate of going like the LS swap and the truck motor versus LS.
Yeah.
Which, but
yeah, I always talk with people about like the JZ or LS, not the LS truck versus the LS car motors.
Yeah, so, the main difference, I mean, when people say truck motor versus LS, I think most people are referring to, did you go an aluminum block or did you go an iron block? Which iron block is going to be most of the truck motors, and all LSs are aluminum.
True. And iron can just hold more. More heat.
Most guys swear by the iron.
Yeah.
It's about a roughly 100-pound difference to go iron versus aluminum. Like an aluminum LS, like 5.7 LS1, is roughly the same weight as an iron inline 6 M50.
Okay.
So if I actually do have an LS1, if I put a true aluminum LS1 into an E36, in theory it should feel relatively the same weight on the front end of the car.
Interesting. Cool. But you're not going to do that.
I have an LS1, but we'll see what happens with it.
Okay. How did you said you went to a couple events in high school? How did you were already wanted to get into drifting, or how did you go into the track come about?
So I think I've seen some like Japanese drifting when I was little, maybe like elementary or middle school, and it was one of those, when you're young and like what you want to do in life, your dream job like changes every like 6 months, every year. So at one point I had this phase where like I want to be a professional drifter. That's going to be my career.
I think all of us drivers.
That was short-lived, like back in middle school, and sure enough, I end up buying a drift car on Facebook Marketplace when I'm in high school, and I end up drifting it. And like I didn't know anything about cars. Like this BMW would always overheat. I didn't know why it was overheating. I like did the cooling system overhaul and scoured all the forums. Like I taught myself everything. And man, this thing was overheating on the highway all the time, like trying to go to and from work. I'm pulling over, it's overheating. Basically, it had a clutch fan problem.
Yeah.
If you weren't moving, it would overheat. And I put like some eBay E-fans, big mistake. eBay fans don't move enough air to keep a thing
I've done
cool.
that too. I've done it too.
And I tried to reinvent the wheel on that one because they were like, I think an E36 is a 14 or a 16-inch fan in the center is what they say. I was like, oh, I'm going to put two 12s, corner and corner.
Yeah.
And it was like worse because this whole center
part.
is not getting airflow on it where the shroud should be, like, to pull the airflow through.
Yeah.
So, you know, it took me a few years to like actually dial that car in where it wasn't overheating. It wasn't like eating through tires with a bad alignment. Like, and like high school, I was like $60 for a pair of used tires from the mom and pop spot on the corner.
Yeah.
And then the one time I needed a front tire, I'm like still in high school. I don't know anything about cars, so I'd like pull into Tire Kingdom, and one front tire is like $180 to have one front tire mounted that I had a hole in. I didn't know any better. I didn't like know about ordering your tires online, paying your buddy to go put them on. I didn't know anybody at the time.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
I think we all have very similar like beginnings, unless your parents or your dad
born into
had
racing
like a
or
shop,
like cars.
or like your parents work in a shop might be the exception.
Dude,
but.
even my dad just recently needed replace these two little bushings on the rear sway bar of his Lexus SUV, and it's 2 bolts on each one, right? And I saw him Friday. And he was like, yeah, I got to do that tomorrow. And I was like, dude, I know you don't have the tools for it. Even though it's just like those 4 little bolts. Because when I was about 16, 17, the only thing I really did in their garage was change the oil and rotate the tires. And the first time looking through like the tools that we had at the house, I was like, dang. I knew at that age, I was like, I got to get my own tools. Because like,
yeah, and it's like,
there wasn't much there.
It's like I started and like, my tools were like the home improvement set that's like the big case that like folds out in half.
Exactly.
Not even like the Harbor Freight mechanics tool set that like folds out, but like the home improvement one that has like a carpenter's hammer, a level, and a tape measure.
Same. Yep. That's what we had too, man. And then so he hit me up yesterday and came over and I did it for him within like 30 minutes. And he was like, yep, you got to have the tools, man. I'm like, yeah, you got to have the tools, man. Yeah. But... You learn. Fucking
it's
YouTube
all learning.
now, man.
Yeah, YouTube University graduate over here.
For real, same, man.
Like, we're so incredibly blessed with the amount of information that's available to us. And now it's like on a smartphone, on a cell phone. You know, the internet was there, but it wasn't like the computer in your pocket type internet.
For real. Yeah.
It's like
I still had a Razor in high school, so yeah, that's how.
Yeah, I mean, like if you didn't have a computer at home, you'd like going to the public library or something to get on the internet.
For real, man. Yeah, dude, it is. I do take it for granted sometimes now.
Right, I think we all do.
Yeah. It's good though to acknowledge it and think about it for sure. Damn. So, then what else, dude? If there were no E36s, what would you drive? What would you drift?
So dream build is an E80 E8X chassis is the dream build, like a 135 IS.
Okay.
I would actually love to build a 135 IS, but get the N55 with the DCT on it, and then do the DCT flash.
True.
That's starting to become a big thing. That 8-speed. It's like an 8-speed DCT. It's the BMW 8-speed, but you can flash them with a tune, and that's what they've done on a few of the Drift HQ cars. And they added, basically, you've got clutch pedal, and it's clutch by wire.
Huh. Interesting. I haven't seen any of those videos. Damn. I'm not too big into Beamers, although I have recently wanted to get a 128i, and kind of like what you're doing with your E36 is like a cheap, simple seat time. Michael Battle has the 135, and he's loving the turbos and like all of that. But have heard problems with those. But like I said, I'm not a Beamer guy, so.
The biggest problem is an E9X or an E8X. Anything like 2007 and up is going to turn you off tremendously from BMWs. So moving from E46 to E90 is the following generation. E46 isn't so bad with like specialty tools and what you need. E36 is actually virtually no specialty tools on an E36.
True.
Like you can do 99% of the car with like a $20 metric socket set that has like 5 to 18. There's a couple 19s here and there, but like everything you need is like an 8 to a 18 on a BMW E36. You move to E90, you start seeing a lot of the torque sockets, the E sockets, and like it's like Torx and E like for control arm bolts and stuff, like not just like specialized fittings in the engine, but like everything starts to get specialty.
Okay.
So I've had a 330 E90, a 328 E90, and fantastic dailies, most comfortable cars ever. They were both 6-speed manual. Yeah. Great dailies, but they suck.
True.
Like the N52 is a strong motor. That's what's in the 128, the 328. But oil pan gasket starts leaking, and it's like per book by BMW, it's like a 12-hour service. You have to drop the whole front subframe out of the car just to do an oil pan gasket. Damn. And then they have a problem where if your front main seal goes out, it can start leaking oil, and that leaking oil deteriorates the belt shreds, and in worst case scenarios, the N52 will suck a serpentine belt in through the front main seal and suck it into the oil pump and lock up the engine.
Jesus. Okay.
That's like extreme cases, but that's going to...
It does happen.
Like, any new BMW has such an extreme and high maintenance interval and cost.
Interesting. Damn.
I think 128s are cool, but the maintenance cost isn't going to be significantly less compared to a 135. You might as well go the 135, get the twin turbo or the single turbo, depending if it's N54, N55 on the 330 or the 135. But you know, the 128s are cool. I've seen a couple of them. I think they're cool seat time cars.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of what I like, a daily, because I daily the truck. So like I wanted something that I could daily that maybe like eventually work on and take to the track, but. That's good to know, because I haven't talked to too many people about them. And all right.
The 128s are cool, but then you end up doing the thing where, like, if you turbo the N52 or you want to do the 135 swap and the 128, you haven't really saved any money because you need to drop everything out of the 128 and you need to go with the 135 subframes for the bigger axles and trailing arms and the beefier brakes. So, like, to make a 128 a good track car, you're going to be doing all the upgrade stuff anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll start looking at 135s then. I'm nowhere ready right now anyways, but I love just looking, you know. Yeah. We all do that, just look around the internet. So what's been some of the best advice that you've gotten as a driver from someone else when you were coming up, or anything you can think of?
I can't like think specifically of like advice other than like maybe it's been said to me over the years, but now that I'm so far into drifting that it might just be common sense stuff, but it was probably told to me at some point, you know. And it's not to be cliche, but it's the stuff that we've all heard is, you know, to keep it simple, don't overbuild your car. You know, everyone's favorite saying is your overbuilt car is holding you back. And like,
I have heard that.
Like, I'd love to turbo my car and make 400 horsepower and rip, but what happens when at an event due to tire costs, now I'm only turning 15, 20 laps instead of 50, 60 laps. Yeah. It's like over 50% less driving, less seat time.
Yeah, dude. And now with some tariffs and stuff, I don't know how that's gonna.
That's a whole situation. I think we're all kind of biting our nails, waiting to see how that's gonna unfold. You know. Yeah. U.S. made tires have never been affordable, and with the tariffs, our imported tires are probably gonna be right at the same cost, if not more than U.S. tires. Yeah.
But I don't know, because it could make those U.S. tires go down, but maybe not, because everyone's just trying to get theirs, and I don't know. Yeah, I know parts already are like, I was looking yesterday online, and some parts to ship over were a little more expensive now, for sure.
Yep.
But, yeah, we'll see. What about any bad advice that you've been given? That maybe you thought it was good advice, but it wasn't, or that you knew you're like, no.
I don't know. I can't think so. Like for what it's worth, I think the drifting community is really great to one another. Like 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we all know someone who's like in the clique and is kind of standoffish and isn't like someone who kind of meshes with the community all that well. But I'd say like 99% of the people are like people's people. Like it's all great advice. Like
for sure. I've never met anyone at the track or at an event that like, I don't know, maybe something was said that I'm like, all right, that's kind of rude or whatever, but that's like nothing. Like I've never, yeah.
I think we only see that in competition level, like Pro-Am events and Formula Drift events, which
it's a different mode.
At that point it is a competition, but I think drifting's really unique in like 99% of us are just doing it for fun and there's no competition. We're not battling each other. We're not, there's not necessarily a benchmark like that we're trying to beat or like compete with one another. Like in drag racing, you're going for time. In autocross, you're going for time. Even without attempting to compete, you're still looking to beat that guy next to you, and it's not like that in non-competitive drifting.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's fun. Everyone's trying to just get better. Progress,
I could be wrong, but I don't think there's anyone like building a drag car and going out there and they're like, I'm just here to have fun. I don't care what times I put down. Like, and same thing with like autocross. I don't think anyone's here like, oh, I'm just here for a little Sunday cruise on the autocross. The times, whatever.
I think there are people that are like that, but then they are there for the time. Like, I feel if I go to autocross, it would be for fun, but I want to I want to beat my own time or get it better than others.
I think for any car guy, there's not like, it's like paying to go to the go-kart track and you're like, you're just there to cruise around. Like no, you're trying to get the fastest lap times possible. Like that is the goal of what you're doing. The fun is going to come no matter what, but you're going for the lap time.
I think that's why so many like skateboarders and BMXers transitioned into drifting, because like it's still a sport that's like adrenaline driven, but it's
not a competition. It's like maybe one of the most laid back auto sports. I mean, if you want to get into like the nitty gritty, I'd say like off-road guys are kind of the same of like, that's a great community as well. Like the guys who just go wheeling in the forest and they're looking for that challenge of, okay, we got to pull this guy up the hill. Oh, I got to hit these rocks this certain way. But I don't, they're really not having a competition there either. They're kind of just doing it for the hobby.
True. Yeah, well, is there anything else? Because even, I feel like rally, you'd be going for time. Autocross. Yeah, all of them were.
I think there's even the car show guys, I think there's a really great community in not just like stance or lowered cars, but like lowriders and car shows in general. Most car show guys aren't like looking to win that trophy over the other guy. I've spoken with a lot of those guys, and those guys just have a lot of passion for the way their vehicles look, and I admire that.
I thought of another kart culture because you mentioned the lowriders, but like the ones that jump, like I feel like they're just doing it to have fun, or like I don't think they're trying to. Well, there are competitions for that too. For height, like how high you can.
Yeah, but that's a really great scene too.
Yeah.
Like anyone I've ever talked to in the low riding community is like the most chill, down to earth guy.
Cool.
Like they'll have a $200,000 lowrider, and like almost every time they talk to you like you're one of them.
I do love the pinstriping and like the looks of, like the styles of lowride culture. That is influential to me for sure. I've seen a couple drift cars with like the tops painted that way, and I'm like, dude. Yeah,
it's something I'd like to do or have done one day.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Damn. So for the future, you're just planning on enjoying drifting, having fun.
Yeah.
Like you said, no competition.
I've never had that itch or that urge to like go and compete or hop into anything like that. Like I think I don't knock anyone who's in competitive drifting.
Yeah.
I think it's cool to go and compete, and I think it's as a driver who will go and spectate like clutch kickers and stuff. I think it's awesome. I love the clutch kicker series. I love Formula Drift, and I love going and watching it. And it's great to just be a spectator sometimes and enjoy the events.
Yeah.
But me personally, I think the stress of competing would take the fun out of drifting for me.
Yeah. I could see how it could drive some people, like push them, but I could also see how it could deter people because it is more like a job at that point.
It
like,
becomes your life to try and run Pro-Am or FD or any like professional level program like that.
For sure. What are there any events that you would really want to go to?
You know, I haven't really like filled out like a bucket list of stuff, you know, cliche again, but I'd like to make it to Mid-Pond. I heard Driven Luck is good.
Yeah, they just did I don't know if it was this weekend or last weekend, but I want to go to one of their weekend events. They do like 2-day events that you could camp out there.
I'd like to make it out to Leadfoot City. I haven't been there yet.
Same. Yeah, dude.
Next
weekend's the first round of U.S. Strip Circuit.
So I'm fortunately for
next
me,
weekend or the weekend after. Yeah, keep going.
Something like that. I'm very spoiled. I live about 15 minutes from OSW, so to me, I'm like, okay, Leadfoot City is also a skid pad. I heard it's pretty fun there. I would like to go there, but if my option is 15 minutes to OSW or a 2.5-hour ride to Leadfoot City, I think it's pretty easy which way I'm going.
If they had made a little road course or a little go-kart track, you would be out there more?
Yeah, definitely. I think definitely. I mean, it's one of those things I'd like to go and try.
Yeah,
I felt the same. OKC is fun to do the private day at OKC in the parking lot there. Super fun, but even that at like 45 minutes for me, I'm like, doesn't really justify the extra time to get there.
I would like to try that too, but yeah, you're right. What does intrigue me a little more about Leadfoot though than OKC is like that run up. Like Fresco was telling me earlier in the day, they had like you run up on the drag strip. So like they started the line earlier in the day closer up, and as the day went on, they moved it further back. So like by the end of the day, initiations were like
I'd like to make it out there. I think Leadfoot has from what I've heard, I think they have a pretty good spectator experience.
Yeah.
Like the experience is there for guests.
Yeah,
there's stuff
I heard they got a stage, a bar.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing. Yeah. It kind of reminds me a lot of like how Ace Cafe used to be down in Orlando, but for drifting.
Yeah, I miss Ace for sure.
Hey, they're coming back in Sanford.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's great because dude, that place. I driving by that place. It's kind of sad now. Like, so many good times there. Yeah, dude.
The Ace Cafe culture is like so funny because I think Ace Cafe was great for the car enthusiasts, but I think their like food was priced themselves out.
Yeah, it was
like a double-edged sword. They would have a car meet and the parking lot would be full, so it looks like the restaurant's full.
Yeah.
And then no car guys are in there. Maybe some people are getting some drinks at the bar, but the restaurant's empty even though the parking lot's full. And then I think that drove away all their regular foot traffic because people thought it would be busy.
You're not wrong. Yeah. It was, that's hard because you do have those events so people do buy drinks and food and stuff. But then if they're not, then...
Yeah, they're not supporting the business.
Yeah, that's tough. But those are good. Those are good times.
Anytime I went to Ace, I always try to buy something because I felt like an obligation that like, okay, if I'm there, I'm gonna go buy something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one beer, something, a little appetizer, or something. But yeah, it is what it is. Not everyone's gonna do that for sure.
Yeah.
So, have you been at Showtime yet?
No, Showtime's another one I'd like to get to.
Yeah.
Kind of a scary track. I hear that track eats cars. The bank is pretty unforgiving.
Yeah.
You know, it's a shallow bank, but you make an error, you're ending up in the wall on the bank.
Yeah.
It's not great.
I hear it's a little more mellow though, so the work my way because I haven't.
It's not like an OSW bank. It's like a drivable bank with a low horsepower car.
Yeah.
But
speaking of eating your car though, you have it in a compound, which I haven't been to yet.
But one time, and I think maybe like 2021 or something. Maybe no, it's probably like 2019, 2020. It's a long time ago. Definitely pre-COVID. I went to Compound. Compound's cool, but it's just one of those places. It's like that's an hour and a half for me. So like,
true.
To load up a trailer and go out there.
Once again, OSW.
Right? Like, I think being so close to OSW has kind of spoiled me in a sense that I don't feel the willingness to hike to these further places.
Yeah, something's really got to get you.
But I'm an efficient person. I focus on efficiency. So if I can go to OSW in 15 minutes, great.
Yeah.
And I leave.
Pay $60 rather than 100 something for another event somewhere.
99% of the time, my car lives on or in a trailer. So it's like hook the truck up and go.
That's that's nice. Very nice. Yeah, that's the next. Now that I got the cage, the next thing I'm saving for is a trailer. But now that I have talked to a couple people that are like, they've tempted me to weigh my options more of just like continue renting it, which like $60 every time I rent it.
That's a whole take. Like if you have the storage space in your house for a trailer, buy the trailer. Mm-hmm. Like. That's all I can say is just buy the trailer. If you have a place to put it, buy the trailer. If you don't have a place to put it and you're going to have to pay storage fee to store it somewhere.
We'll put it on property. Yeah.
Then it makes no sense. They're right. But man, that U-Haul $60, that adds up quick.
Now that I have been, since I got the cage, I've now driven it to one event, the After Dark, and I've towed it to 2 events. And I do... Street driving it isn't so bad as I thought it'd be, but I do like, now that I have the cage, I want to like really drive when I'm at the track.
Yeah.
And at After Dark, I wasn't driving as hard as the last 2 events. So like, I feel like I gotta trailer it now more.
That's my thing is like, I feel that you won't drive your car hard if you know you have to drive it home.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like okay. And personally, I'm a little traumatized. The spray paint car used to have a license plate on it because it was a daily. Mm-hmm. It was registered through like 2023. The one time I was like, oh, I'm going to be cool guy. I threw some tires and a jack in the car and then I blew the engine. The one time I didn't take it on a trailer. So I had to like have someone take me to my house so I could get my rig and my trailer and go back and pick up the car. And
shit.
So now I'm like, man, if I drive it to the track, something's gonna happen.
Yeah, and you're so close too, dude. I would.
Yeah, I trailer my car 15 minutes away.
Yeah, damn. Yeah.
But like to go out and drive and not have to worry about driving your vehicle home, I think there's a sense of relief that comes with that.
Yeah, there was. I was babying it a lot more this last weekend, and I don't know why. I thought it'd be like a funny idea to make a video, and then I never made one about it, but I didn't take anything with me. I didn't take I had brand new tires on the car. I didn't take tools. I didn't take a jack. I was like, if anything happens, I'll ask somebody. No fluids. And I didn't need anything. I drove it there, turned some laps, and drove home, but I wasn't pushing myself as hard as I should be. And that was the first time that I was entered into A class. So I kind of felt like, I was like, damn, I should be I shouldn't be babying it as much right now. Like, it's my first day.
Now's the time.
And but now I know for next time, I'll trailer it and I'll send it.
I'm like, I vote trailer every time. It's a peace of mind. It's a convenience.
Yeah.
I will say, and then the thing with the U-Haul trailer is you get a one-day rental. You got to go pick that thing up. You got to load all your stuff up. Then you got to go to the track. And if it's an After Dark, you're not home till like 1:30. Yeah. And then you're worried about the next day. Got to unload everything. Got to go drop the trailer off before 1-2 o'clock, so you don't get that second day charge.
Yep, that's true. It's happened to me. Yeah, it's happened to me a couple times.
Right. So if you own the trailer, that's a non-issue.
Yeah.
And if you have a place to put it, you're not doing the time of going to pick it up or going to drop it off.
Yeah.
And if you go out of state, if you go out of state for 3 or 4 days, it's like
that's kind of where I'm at. That I do want to. I feel like once I have the trailer, I will venture out of Florida a little more. That's why this year I do want to hit Leadfoot Showtime. Like the tracks in Florida, I haven't yet. So then once I get the trailer, I could go to Georgia, Alabama,
Yeah,
like all those.
I think for lack of better terms, I kind of put the carriage before the horse. Like, I drive this spray painted E36 that's like has a total value of like $3 or $4 grand, and I bought. I have a 2500 Suburban, and I have a 26-foot enclosed trailer now. So I bought like this Mac trailer. It's got air conditioning, cabinets, and all this stuff in it. But it's great. Like, I have spare parts. I keep tools in it, fluids. Like, everything I need is there, and I can go out of state. I can travel.
And if you had to, you could sleep in it. It's air conditioning.
So I've slept in it like 4 times now. If I go out of state, I'm staying in the trailer. I have like a portable shower set up with a water heater. So I take hot showers when I travel. Damn. I do use the track bathrooms, but I do take hot showers, and I have the air conditioning in the trailer. And
so I
slept like a baby when I do it.
You would suggest enclosed trailers over open trailers as a first one? You think I should save up more? No.
I think open trailers serve a purpose of convenience and tow rig, and it kind of comes down to what kind of truck you have.
Yeah.
An enclosed trailer comes with, you're gonna need a bigger truck.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, my Titan ain't gonna.
You don't want to. This is another thing that a lot of people know about me is like I take safety, like towing safety, very seriously. I would never like undersize a truck and a trailer, and I see it all the time, like the 1500 trucks pulling like massive enclosed trailers, and they're just doing the squat like this. Like super unsafe, super dangerous. You're pulling the weight off the front tires of the truck. Like if you need to stop, that rig's not stopping. You're gonna like rear end a minivan and kill a family or something.
Okay. True.
And then it's like for like a 1500 size truck, you can get away with like the 20 to 24 foot enclosed trailer, but you start going like 26s, 28s, 30s. You need like 2500 HD.
Okay.
You can get away with a gas 2500 HD, but you need the truck to handle the load.
Okay. All right.
That's like the biggest cost of entry for enclosed trailers.
True. The truck itself.
Yeah, but if you already have a bigger truck, then absolutely. If you have a 2500 class truck, I wouldn't even waste time with an open trailer. I would go for the enclosed all day, every day.
I definitely don't. But what is funny is when I bought the Titan, the previous owner, like in the truck bed, it has like a fifth wheel hookup.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if they were pulling a horse or what, but I've never used that of it, but
that's like a whole nother like can of worms that like now you're starting to get into the RV community of the RV dealers love to sell like gigantic RVs and then they're like 1500 truck, you got that, no problem. Yeah. They just want to sell that RV to them.
Yeah.
And that's
and
it.
Even it has like, I've never used it either, even with the trailers, the U-Haul trailers, but it has like the little extra brake booster.
Yeah.
That like you plug in or whatever underneath the steering wheel. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I will say like travel trailers are very light. They're really just like wooden boxes with like a bed and stuff inside of them. So like camper's much lighter than an enclosed trailer with
with a car.
10, 20 wheels in it. I mean, if you're taking like 10 or 12 wheels with you, that's like 400 pounds right there in wheels. And then the car's 3K to 3,500. So I did take my trailer to Cordell, and my 26-foot enclosed trailer with like 12 tires, a car, a grill, a generator was 9,600 pounds was like the total load, and my whole rig was like 16,000 pounds for Suburban trailer car. But that weight adds up super fast with the enclosed trailers, unfortunately.
I bet. Yeah, well, it's good to know. I'll keep my eye out for opens then. Is there anything else you want to touch on or ask me or go over before we close out?
No, I can't say. Like, I think right now in where drifting's going right now is, I think it's good going into the future. I think there's like, it's kind of odd to be, I don't want to say I'm older, I'm 27, but like I can see generations below me at this point. Like I'm starting to show my age, and I think those of us who came in who were born like 96 to like 2000 is like it's a small window where there wasn't much interest in drifting, and everyone I hang out with is older. They're like CFRC day people. And I'm like, I think I was in middle school when CFRC was a thing. I didn't even know like drifting was happening in Orlando when CFRC was a thing.
It's also like the Instagram and like the connection of like that way. Yeah. I didn't know even, I went to CFRC when I was in high school for a couple events to spectate, take pictures and stuff, but I didn't even know OSW was doing drifting until like 2019. That like, it was my buddy Ryan was going, he was doing autocross more and then started going to drift events, and I was like, oh, like this is so much closer to me, and like seeing him do it made it seem so possible for me to do it. And I was like, dude, I definitely can do this. And that's what I think.
I'm like, I feel like me personally, I know like a handful of people that are like right at my age with me who are like too young to be CFRC day people, but like there's also this whole younger generation below us that's just blown up. I don't think it's sim. I think it's just YouTube, Instagram influencers. I think I think drifting on the internet has blown up in the last like 5-6 years. Where like there wasn't much. I don't think there was that many drifting YouTubers like 5 to 10 years ago.
And everyone talks about like the golden age of drifting, obviously the 90s cars, but like the early 2000s of like Japan, like GP and stuff, but like
what a time to have been alive. Like,
it is popular now. Like it's a different scene now, but I don't know. I know some people still are like reliving that with like liveries and like cars and stuff, but I don't know. It is, like you said, it is going, I think, in a good direction.
It's growing, and growth is good. Growth helps anything.
More non-car people know what it is, which I feel like is a good sign. Like
I love being I love getting to talk to people who are like car enthusiasts or car people, but they might be older or they've never heard of drifting before, and they're like, they almost always have a story of like when they were in high school they had an old muscle car and they would like go do burnouts and do donuts in parking lots and stuff, and I'm like, that's pretty much what drifting is now, but we're actually like following a course. We're not just going in circles. And they're like, that sounds pretty cool. I'd like to come check that out. And then they come to the track and they're like, wow, this is super cool. I had no idea anything like this existed.
It's true, because back then if you lived in Japan, like if you were in the 80s in Japan, then you would have seen it. But if you were here back then,
I don't know what the history is like overseas, like Europe and Russia, with drifting. I think it's been around a bit longer, but it's kind of unique. Like drifting is relatively new to America as a whole. Like I don't think drifting even got here until like the early 2000s.
As far as especially just motorsports in general, like how many things were already here? NASCAR, drag racing, like everything else was already here
from like the 50s, 60s, from the like birth of the automobile almost. Is like all this different types of racing, rally, drag racing, track racing.
Drifting is really new.
There wasn't drifting here in the 80s, 90s.
No. And it is funny now, more recently, a lot more people are doing it with American cars. Like, you see more Mustangs, more Corvettes, obviously, but like, when I started to watch drifting and get into drifting, there was no American car in drifting. There was a Viper. I remember that.
I love the way it's headed. Like, Corvettes I think are great chassis. The Mustangs, the Camaros are dope. I think the Camaros don't have a ton of aftermarket support right now, but S550s are kind of blowing up, which is great. I mean, I think, I haven't looked at them, but I think you can get like S550 Coyote powered Mustangs for like 10 to 15 grand right now.
Nice. That's like, great.
Pretty solid deal.
You could send that.
I mean, you can find a C5 vet in like the 10 to 15 range as well. C6s are still like kind of close to 20, I feel.
Yeah, they're still a little, but now is when I feel like the next few years is when the elders are going to get rid of them. So
I think the Corvettes are so cool, but I think everybody who's had a Corvette has had like major problems with them, and I think it's something is coming in with that the transmission being behind the seats on the axle.
Okay, I don't know too much about that, but I don't know who's had that. I know K1.
His has been nonstop with like clutch, power steering, alternator issues.
Yeah, at Beast Coast, I remember him telling me his clutch. Yeah,
I want to say Grindle had quite a bit of problems with his C6 as well.
Damn. And Burn the Ships, Chris Snow just sold his. So yeah, okay. Yeah, no vets for me right now. But yeah, man.
I think a vet might be great if you like left it totally stock. You know? Do the reliability parts like your valve, your cam bearings, your valve train, refresh the valve train, and leave it stock. I mean, those cars make like 400-ish. I think it's anywhere from like 330 to 400 depending on package.
Yeah, that's good. That's decent. No problem. You're good to go with that.
And it's a V8, so it's just instant torque the whole way.
Yeah, dude, that is nice. I've only driven. I've never drifted any, but I've driven a couple of vets. It is sick. I've never owned a V8 besides the truck, and it is a different feeling, dude. That instant, that torque, baby. Yeah, dude, that's been nice. But dude, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Absolutely.
It's been nice. It's been dope.
This was fun.
Drop a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and we'll catch you next time, fam. Peace.